Hey Teves, today, Dida Notzach. Good morning, everyone. Today, we begin on page 66 in the Chayenu. We're in the middle of chapter 7. And we're talking about how the Nefesh HaBahamis, the neutral energy, or items that have been temporarily lowered into Klippa, can be misused, can be directed, so what do we have to do? We have to redirect them and elevate them when a person returns towards Hashem. However, forbidden acts or objects that remain locked in the realm of negative until Mashiach comes, with those things we have to stay away from completely. Whatever is neutral, klipas noiga. If we take a cookie with jelly inside and we make a bracha, then we're uplifting that food item to kedusha, right? Here. We're talking about yesterday, if a person eats a steak or drinks wine, if he's doing it because, it's going to put him in a good mood and he's going to be excited and relaxed and looking forward to learning and serving Hashem, then that's okay. But if he's doing it for gluttonous reasons, then all he's doing is satisfying his bodily appetite and his animal soul. What he's doing is basically he is satisfying his personal desires and pleasures. And that's no good. We can never do things for personal desire and satisfaction. Oftentimes when we do things for Hashem's sake, for the sake of Hashem and for Torah and mitzvahs, we also enjoy them. And that's okay. When we say every day, Ivdos Hashem b'simcha, we have to serve Hashem with joy. It's because God told us to be joyous. Not because this is what I want to do and I don't care about anybody else. I'm looking out for my personal enjoyment. So what we do is we serve Hashem in every possible way, and Hashem says to be happy. So we have to be happy. So we're going to get enjoyment out of life and service of Hashem, but it's not going to be for selfish reasons. So in such a case, when a person eats meat and drinks wine just to satisfy himself, he degrades them. He takes them from the neutral, okay, it's kosher to eat, but right now it's in a neutral state, and he brings it to lower level, God forbid. And now it's becoming utterly evil. And the body and the garment becomes a vehicle for these klippas from the gluttonous perspective. The term vehicle is an analogy for total subservience, just as a vehicle is completely subservient to the will of the driver, having no will of its own. So in this case, is this person totally subservient to the three unclean klippas? The evil is going to drive him. The evil is going to direct him. That's not good. We want to direct everything. Things that are good are obviously good, but things that are powerful, we could direct it towards Hashem and utilize it for good. So what happens if he eats something or he does something for selfish reasons? Then, lefisha, it's only a temporary thing. Once a person chaps, you go, wait a second, what am I doing? He can get back on track very quickly. And he could rescue that item, that thing, sometimes even retroactively, which we'll see. Kifi l'shah, kifi, ki, lefi, shahaya, b'sar, heta v'yayin kosher. Since they were kosher, they were permissible to be eaten, he just did it with the wrong intention. So a person could shift his mind, is the power to revert and ascend him when he returns to the service of God. The minute he realizes, wait a second, what am I doing? I'm being selfish. I'm just eating this for personal gain and satisfaction. He reverts his mind and says, you know what? I'm going to use that energy that I have inside myself to go and help another Jew, daven to learn and to do a mitzvah. When it comes to things that are permitted, they're free, they're permissible, and they can be released. They're not chained down like that which is asur. Anything which is asur is tied down and prevented from ascending on high. So that thing that's kosher, and you may have started off for the wrong reasons, can return and ascend to Hashem when the person returns to the service of Hashem, as we explained above. What happens? The only problem is that a trace of the evil still remains in his body. Remember that it becomes absorbed into the body. Sometimes you have to go through a very difficult scrubbing and cleansing. I often say, if you're going to, we're going to go to a wedding soon, right? So if a person gets dirty, he has to go clean himself. But the more dirty you are, the more difficult it is to scrub yourself clean. So if you're just eating and you have some food particles, you wipe it off with a wipe, no big deal. If you rolled around in the mud and the mud dries on your skin, it's a little bit harder to wipe off. What if you have paint or permanent marker? Then you really got to scrub, and sometimes that hurts. So too, with regard to the vitality of the drops of semen emitted from the body with animal lust, if a person just did it out of personal lust by him who has not conducted himself in a holy manner during intimacy with his ishtay, wife, during her state of purity, here too, the vitality is temporarily absorbed in the total evil of the three unclean klippas until the person does tshuva. So in the above instances, the fault lies not in the act, which itself is permitted, and we're talking about the food and this other act we just mentioned, but at a personal bodily gain and pleasure. We're not even talking about forbidden foods or illicit acts. Those things are asur. Those things are tied down. You can never have relations with someone who's not your wife or the like, or you can't eat stray food. Never. When if that happens, treif or an illicit relationship, then it's going to have to wait till Mashiach comes to fix that. We're not going to be able to fix it. Before we mentioned if a person ate kosher food with the wrong intentions, that you could fix later. But something which is asur, that you can't fix. That's going to have some higher authority to be able to straighten that out down the road. Oy. So God willing, a person who, let's say, had treif or was involved in illicit relationships, if he does tshuva so earnestly that his premeditated sins become transmuted into merits. That's a level, it's a very, very high level that Halavai were able to reach, because it's possible that we made these mistakes along the way. She'im tshuva me'ava me'umka deliba ba'ava rabba v'chashika v'nefesh she'keika l'dafka ba'yisparich. Further on in Tanya, we're going to talk about the different levels of love. But here, on a general level, it's saying that tshuva, out of love of Hashem, coming from the depths of the heart, with a great love and fervor, a person, he realizes later on, a few years later, I was an idiot. I made a big, big mistake. I ate something. I did something. I was involved with somebody I shouldn't have been involved with. And it's a big problem. But if he does tshuva from the depths of his heart, or she does tshuva, and he passionately cleaves to Hashem, then he's able to hopefully rectify the mistake before the end of days. A person who's doing tshuva like this is thirsting for Hashem, like a person who's so thirsty in a dry soil, desperately seeking water. You're in the desert. You're somewhere where you're just like, I just need a drink. Apparently, the craving for water when you're thirsty, like super, super thirsty, it's one of the worst cravings you could ever imagine. Like, you just need that water. Food, you can wait. But water, when you're parched, It's just, and I feel that way to a very lesser degree on a fast day. Like if like a cup of water, I'll be fine. Food, you wait a couple of days. Really, you could. I've done a couple day fast, but when it comes to water, it's just that one, even a half a cup of water, right? So that's how much a person is thirsting to reconnect with Hashem with that deep, deep, deep passion and intense love. Just Hashem, please allow me to have this relationship back. Until now, until he does tshuva, his neshama is like in a desert, in the wilderness, and in the shadow of death, which is sitra achra. It's the other side. If it's not a side of Hashem, it's the other side, and it's far removed from the light of Hashem in the greatest possible measure, and that's painful. It's like you're parched. Therefore, therefore, now that a person repents out of love, his neshama thirsts for Hashem even more intensely than the soul of the righteous who have never sinned. They don't know that intense yearning to draw closer to Hashem because they never sinned. They're just always on a high level. They're on a high level trajectory and everything. They're constantly connected to Hashem, but because they're always being satiated with the love of Hashem. They're always drinking the water of Torah and eating the lechem, which is also Torah, which we mentioned as well in the Maimer. But when a person sins, then he's like mamish, like dry, and he's desperate for that drink, that reconnection to Hashem. As our sages have said, a place where a tzaddik, where a Baal Tshuva stands, even a tzaddik does not have that intense yearning for Hashem the way a Baal Tshuva is. Like he feels so desperately in pain to reconnect to Hashem that a tzaddik can't understand that level. That's why the Rebbe said, I mentioned this on Yutas Kislev, the Rebbe said to this guy who was dating a non-Jew, he said, I envy you, because I'll never have that test. I'll never go through that. You're going through that right now, and it's a tremendous nisayon, it's a tremendous test, and you're going to overcome it. I'm never going to have that test. That's the tzaddik is never going to be tested with eating treif and dating a non-Jew and all these types of things. So in summary, so concerning tshuva, out of such great love that's been said that the Baal Tshuva, his sins become like virtues, since through them, through the sins which previously distanced himself from Hashem, he's able to get this tremendous love. And actually, that's what it says about Adam HaRishon. That's why he ate from the tree, so that he can have this intense love. Otherwise, it's just easy sailing. Hashem created you, everything's there for you, everything is just, we're connected on a nice high level, and it's great. But if I eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, then I'm going to do this sin, and I'm going to regret it, and I'm going to be parched, and I'm going to beg Hashem for to drink the love that I once had, or even higher, and then I can reach a higher level that I would have never accomplished. Okay, it's not the right way to do it. You don't sin on purpose to reach a higher level. That's what it says about tshuva. Okay, you made a sin. And by the way, we're all hopefully we're all aspiring Baal Tshuvas, because we all make these terrible sins that we have to transform into merits. So in summary, it's possible even now, before evil completely disappears from the earth. We think that it's only going to be the end of times, that Hashem is going to make magic and take away all the evil from the world, and that includes our past sins. But he says even now we could do it through tshuva out of the love of Hashem. Okay. If a person does tshuva without this intensity and without this tremendous love, even though it's taka according to the prescribed tshuva checklist, you check all the boxes, but nobody can decide where your intense, fiery love is holding. That's up to you. Hashem yislach loy. You do your part, and Hashem will forgive you. You could do tshuva, and Hashem forgives you, but you might not be able to transform the averos, the sins, the mistakes, into merits. Okay, but still, it's still a very high level. These things that we did, whether it's the treif or the other things that we discussed, they're not released. They're not completely ascend from the klipa that they were schlepped into until the end of time, when death will be swallowed up forever. May that be the Meir be Amen. So takeaways, you might have done something wrong, Okay. Don't let that hold you back. Let that motivate you to connect to Hashem in a more powerful way. Instead of being miserable of your past or even current sins, you say, you know what, I have an opportunity to reach a much higher level by using those as a stepping stone and a springboard to get closer to Hashem. All we have to do is just transform our mindset, our way of thinking, and really passionately say, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu b'chol levavcha b'chol nafscha b'chol meidecha, with all of our heart, and with all of our soul, and with all of our might. A good yontif, hey Teves, Tida Notzach, Yeshua everyone.